I'm only 7 now, so a lot of hope for my future. So this is my first novel, and I'm totally thrilled and excited. And all you need to know before I read my few minutes is that Allison and Zoe fell in love at Oberlin College. This takes place in the 80s, and they then moved to Berkeley, where they heard a rumor they could walk across the Golden Gate Bridge holding hands and nobody would hurt them. And they've been together at this point about 5 years, and this takes place a month after the Loma Prieta earthquake, that gives the book its name. Allison stood in the entryway of the cottage, gathering her courage. Amazed by the seemingly endless excuses her mind was able to concoct. She knew it wouldn't be any easier to do this the next day, the next week, or the next year, yet now seemed like the worst possible time. "Babe," Zoe called from the bedroom. Allison put her briefcase down and walked down the hall. She stopped in front of Zoe's Memory Lane paintings, tracing a whorl of red paint with her finger. "I missed you before I knew you," she thought. "I'll miss you for the rest of my life." She found Zoe in bed with a book propped open in her lap. Her oversized Dyke March sleep shirt was sprinkled with black cookie crumbs. A half-empty sleeve of Oreos topped the stack of fertility books on her nightstand. "How did we not know that black cohosh improves mucus quality?" Zoe asked without looking up. "That explains so much. We'll try it this month." "Zoe, I know what you're going to say, but don't worry about the smell. This comes in pill form." "Can we go in the living room? I need to talk to you." Zoe closed the book. "What's wrong?" "I can't do this in here." Allison walked into the living room. It seemed even more of a betrayal somehow to have this conversation on their funky, beloved couch. So she sank into the itchy orange wool armchair that Zoe had found at some outlet store. Allison had always hated the thing. "Do what? You're scaring me." Zoe sat on the couch. Allison had rehearsed this conversation, but now she felt sick to her stomach and completely unprepared. "I slept with someone." Allison's voice sounded tinny to her, as if it were coming from far away. Zoe's jaw dropped. "I had sex with someone. I wish I hadn't, but I did." "When?" The color drained from Zoe's face. "Who?" "It doesn't matter. It matters to me." "No one you know," Allison said. "A guy." "A man?" Zoe's eyes widened, and then awareness washed across her face. "The night of the Mother Jones party, that's why you got home so late." Allison nodded. "That was 2 weeks ago. You're just telling me now?" "I'm sorry." Zoe stood up and started pacing the living room floor. "Okay, you fucked a guy. It happens," she said in a pinched voice. "We'll get through it." "No," Allison said, "we won't." Zoe ignored her. "I hope he used a condom at least." Allison was shocked to realize that he hadn't. She hadn't even thought about it until that moment. Not having to use birth control had been one of the benefits of being with Zoe. Not having to worry about AIDS was another. "He didn't. I can see it on your face." A blue vein throbbed in Zoe's neck. "Now we're both going to have to get tested." Allison shook her head. "You're overtired," Zoe said. "We'll talk about this when you've had some rest." She forced a tremulous smile. "You know how you get when you're exhausted." All this time I thought she was taking care of me, Allison thought, and she's actually been taking care of herself. "I love you, Zoe," Allison said. "I probably always will, but this isn't working." She looked at Zoe pleadingly. "You must see it too. I just told you I had sex with someone else and you're telling me to get some rest, as if I'm your kid." Zoe was crying. She wiped her face with the hem of her t-shirt. Allison winced at the glimpse of her perfect belly, smooth thighs, the thatch of incongruously dark hair between her legs. The first body she'd ever loved. She'd never love it again. It's not your fault. I wanted to be mothered as much as you wanted to mother me, Allison said. But I want to be a mother myself. I can't do that and be with you. What are you talking about? It's 1989, Allison. Of course you can. Allison shook her head again. I know I pushed you too hard about the inseminations. You wanted to take a break. I didn't listen. Zoe was panting shallowly. We can take 3 months off if you want. 4 months. A year. It's not. We bought a house together. The words were Zoe's words, but her voice was quavering, unsure. We're going to have a family together. We're going to spend our whole lives together. She looked at Allison through red, scared eyes. Remember, Al? We said forever. That was the whole point of us. You can have the house. I'll sign my share over to you. It's yours anyway. I won't barge in on you anymore when you're writing. Or, Zoe was gasping, or make you eat tofu. Allison's eyes darted around the room, remembering. The Dury rug they'd bought at the Berkeley flea market. The wooden PG&E spool they'd found on the street and rolled the 10 blocks home, congratulating themselves about what a great coffee table it would make. They built the base together, laughing about their first construction project at Oberlin, the Miss America auction block. Now that she was leaving the things she and Zoe had found and bought and built and loved together, now that she was leaving Zoe, a thought that seemed to Allison, even in that moment of doing it, beyond belief. Those treasures looked the same way their relationship felt. Sweet, innocent, outgrown. Thank you. Hello.